Hello everyone, Deb Floros for Jesse James Beads, the July Magical Mystery Bead Box. A Midsummer Night's Dream is so dreamy. It's so great. So many fun things to work with. So we hope that you will check out the projects on the QR code. And I've got a fun project today. I'm going to be picking out some of my favorites from this box, and I can say it's hard to pick favorites from this one, but I am loving all of the pieces and parts. There's some gemstones, there's some flowers, there's some metal pieces to work with, there's mixes. I mean, it is so much fun. And look at this chain, it's so pretty. There's even this gemstone focal, these floral head pins. This is a jam-packed box. There's also a strand of chain reaction chain. So we're going to make something fun. We're going to make a necklace. And I love the Enchanted Forest connector pieces and leaf charms. And I'm going to use those together, and they're going to be my focal section for a necklace. These leaves are going to be connected to those connector pieces, those branches, and I'm going to do alternating silver, gold, and then on the other side, just continue silver, gold, silver, gold. You can reverse it and make it the same on the other side if you'd like. And I'm going to put something here in the center. Now, the loops that are hanging at the bottom of the connector piece are in such a way that the charms will need an additional jump ring to add. So I'm going to use a round 4mm jump ring, and I'm going to attach it to my charm using a couple pairs of chain nose pliers, opening up the jump ring, attaching the charm, and closing up the jump ring. And then I'm going to use some oval jump rings, and I'm going to take the oval jump ring, attach it to the round jump ring, and then attach it to the loop on the connector. And then using those chain nose pliers, kind of balancing that out and closing up the jump ring. And then I've got my leaf charm oriented facing in the right direction. So you'll just need that additional jump ring to make that happen. You could use 2 round jump rings if you'd like. You'll just need a slightly larger one for the connection with the connector piece. So I'm doing that for each one of the leaves I'm going to add, and I just love how these look. They're just so pretty. They've got lots of nice detail on them, and these branch connectors are also really detailed as well. So such a fun combination of things here. Very Midsummer Night's Dream. I mean, I'm going to say that multiple times just so you know. So I'm just continuing to add on those charms with all of the jump rings needed. There's 3 out of 4, and there's 4 out of 4. So pretty. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And I did continue the pattern of alternating the leaves, but you could do the same pattern there if you'd like. I mean, it doesn't make a heck of a lot of difference. It's just personal preference. So now I've got my 2 focal sections, and across the top, you've got loops that will allow you to string your beading wire through. And I'm going to use the Queen Titania bead mix, and I'm picking out this quatrefoil bead as my center point. Now, you could use a larger bead there if you'd like, but I just like the simplicity of that quatrefoil, but it's simple and not because of the finish on that bead. And now I'm just picking out some of the other beads that will go in between those loops. So you're going to pull your wire through the loops and through beads. And I'm going to also include some seed beads as well, because I think that that will help me to get beads in between those loops on those connectors. So my seed beads, hard to see, but they are a clear seed bead. They're size 11s, and I'm going to use some 49 strand beading wire from Beadalon. And I'm just going to start stringing from the focal section. I think that's easier for this kind of a project to make sure that everything comes together. So I'm going to start with one of our rhinestone rondelles, And I love those. It's a beautiful piece to sort of add a little bit of sparkle at the end of our branch connector. And then I'm going to put on 3 seed beads, and the seed beads are going to fall some into that loop. Then I'm going to use one of the flower crystals, which will look really beautiful in that section of the branch. Then 2 to 3 more seed beads. This is tricky because the seed beads slide and your beads are different sizes, as well as those openings between the branches or between the loops of your branches. So you may have to play around a little bit as you go to make sure that everything fits the way that you would like. The mermaid bead goes nicely in that center section between those 2 loops, and then a few more seed beads. Then you're going to go through another loop. And then, oh gosh, that looks so cool. All of these various beads and textures look super cool. Then that bling ball bead, oh my gosh, so pretty. So that's how it's going to look. And I love how that came out. So I'm going to take a couple more seed beads, then add my quatrefoil, then a couple more seed beads, and then we're going to connect the other side. So our other connector, our other branch connector, so I'm going to go through that first loop, and then I'm just going to add the same beads as I did the first time, just in the reverse direction. And again, you may have to manipulate and string and restring a couple of times your seed beads and everything to make sure they all fit nicely and look exactly as you would like. And you may choose different beads to go in these sections, but I think my choices brought out a lot of cool sparkle, a lot of cool finish, really some unique colors that will just go nicely with all of our metal. So I've got that rondelle on the other side of my connector, and now we've got our focal done. And I'm doing now just a bunch of different beads from the Queen Titania mix, and I'm doing 2 of the seed beads between each of the beads, and I'm using a pattern that's sort of thought out but sort of not. I put the mermaid bead on and that large pink bicone, which is probably one of my new favorite beads, and I'm using those gold tone bling ball beads. This is where you can kind of make this your own. You could even bring in other beads from the box. There are other beads certainly to choose from. There's the King Oberon mix as well that you might want to bring in some different colors into this piece as well. There's just so many choices, so many beads in this box. So I'm just repeating the pattern on the other side. And we've got so much sparkle and so much shine and so much beauty. And I love the movement of our focal section. You can decide how long you would like this to be. As it is strung, I am going to leave the components the way that I've got them, leaving on the number of beads, but this does mean that my necklace is a little bit short. So I love the beads. I love the pattern of the beads. So I'm going to put on my stoppers, and I'm going to grab some of my chain reaction chain, and I'm going to use 3 links on either side, just using the metal links. So I'm just going to cut my pieces, so my links off. I've got 3 pieces, 3 actual links, and cut both the same way. And I'm going to attach those pieces on either side of the necklace. I'm just going to use a simple toggle clasp, and I'm going to use an oval jump ring to attach the clasp to the pieces of my chain reaction chain. So I'm just using that jump ring and attaching the the clasp pieces to either side. And then I've got some size 2 crimp tubes. I'm going to add that on to the chain and or to the beading wire, and then add the piece of chain onto the beading wire, and I'm going to pull that down until I have a small loop, and then I'm going to crimp that one side on. So just a nice crimp, then do the same on the other side. Add my crimp tube, slide my beading wire through the ring on the piece of chain, pull down till I have a small loop, allowing some movement of my chain. You don't want to choke down too hard on that. And then you'll crimp on your chain, and then you'll trim off your excess wire. And I'm just going to do one more fun thing because I love those quatrefoil beads. So to match up with the one in the center, I'm going to add one as a little dangle in the back. So when you're adding a toggle, you've got that little loop where you've attached your chain. I'm going to use a head pin and I'm going to wire wrap a loop. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and create a loop. And then before I wrap it, I'm going to open that up and I'm going to add it to the loop where my chain is attached. And then I'm going to do my wrapping. So I'm going to grab with my chain nose pliers, hold on to that little loop and do my wraps just a few times around, and then I'll trim off my excess. And now I've got a beautiful Midsummer Night's Dream necklace. I hope that you will give this project a try. You can find the Magical Mystery Bead Box at jessiejamesbeads.com. Thank you so much for watching.